Hi, I'm William Harrell, and welcome to my reading journey of Oroonoko. Now, we're going to talk about the process of reading Oroonoko for a little bit. In my process, I've always had a little trouble with vocabulary in books like these, complex books like these. So I would underline them and put question marks next to them, and then after I read that chapter, I'd go back, write down all the ones that I underlined, and then look them up and try to understand them. And if I don't understand them, then I go to the teacher the next day. Another thing that I would do with my process is just really underline key phrases that I think was important, and maybe I could draw conclusions from those phrases, and it'll help me build a better understanding of the book. Now, improving, I feel, is always done when you read a book of this level. Improvement is just practice, 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 and no matter how much you practice in anything, whether it's reading, sports, whatever, you're always going to constantly improve from it. You could be lazy and not improve a lot, or you could work hard and improve and try to improve a lot. So in my reading of Oroonoko, I wasn't the most intrigued in the book, so although I do feel like I improved, I could have definitely improved a whole lot more in reading this novel. Some tips to reading Oroonoko. I'm going to read a little passage from Oroonoko, and then we're going to talk about it, and we're going to talk about how to really understand the passage and how to understand the writing from Afro-Ben. Here we go. In fine, after 1,000 things of this nature, not fit here to be recited, he told Byam he had rather die than live upon the same earth with such dogs. But Treffry and Byam pleaded and protested together so much that Treffry, believing the governor to mean what he said, and speaking very accordingly himself, generously put himself into Caesar's hands, and took him aside, and persuaded him, even with tears, to live by surrendering himself, and no name his conditions. So in this passage, I had to read it a couple of times to understand what was really happening, which I highly recommend in any book that you read, that if you don't really understand the passage that you just read, or the sentence or the word, then just go back, read it a couple of times, and try to figure it out. Use your context clues, read the things around it that you do understand, to try to build an understanding for that passage. If you really don't understand any of it, then I recommend going to talk to a friend, your teacher, parent, whatever. So in this passage, he's talking about how we find how Oroonoko, who goes by Caesar, does not want to be ruled by anyone, because he's been a prince his whole life and now he's enslaved, but he does such a great job, and he's not treated poorly, but he's treated like a slave, but he's not treated like brutally. So, but he still wants to be free, and he doesn't want to be ruled over by someone else. So that's what he's talking about in this, how he'd rather die than have people be ruled over. And looking at this book through this historical lens is pretty easy. You just have to understand what these people are going through at the time, how they 100% believe that slavery is okay, and once you accept that, you'll understand why they're doing the things that they're doing. So, but because there's some things in the book, in the novel, that are a little edgy in today's society, but you just need to understand what they are going through. And with my lens that I created, that I looked through, was the adversity lens. And this is Oroonoko faced with adversity, trying to make the best of situations, but sometimes he just couldn't. So when he made the best of his situations was in the beginning when he was separated by the love of his life, Amoinda, and he wasn't exactly okay, but he kept going, he kept pushing on, and eventually he came back and found her. But then when Amoinda died later, when they were together, he didn't really handle that very well because he kind of did it. But yeah, he didn't handle it very well. He tried to kill himself and he failed at killing himself. So then he later died, but was in an awful place in his head. So how does this historical context of Oroonoko affect my reading of the novel? Well, I understand the slavery part, so that really helped me understand what these people are going through. I understand that slavery is a 100% normal thing. It's okay. So I understand why they say these things. I can still question it, but I can understand what they're saying and why they're saying. So that's my reading journal of Oroonoko. Thanks.